So, fun fact about me, one of my favorite things in this world is videos that talk about how bad and goofy Ghost Adventures is. And you know what? I want in on the fun. I do want to start this out by saying that I do think ghosts are real, but I also go into every ghost claim with a healthy amount of skepticism, because there's a lot of ways to easily make up things about ghosts. And if you do it right, you can scam people out of their money. On that note, Ghost Adventures. Meet Zach Bagans, a man who notoriously hates it when you say his name wrong, and is ghost hunting's loudest con artist. Ghost Adventures is hands down the most well-known ghost hunting show. It's been around for like over 25 seasons. Zach and his team have really set the standard for what a paranormal investigation show looks like. And if you talk to fans of the show, they'll tell you that when it began, there was an honesty to their work. Zach and the team seemed to really want to actually find proof of ghosts, but as the years have gone on, it's become more and more fake and absurd. They have to keep the show fresh, and it has been over 25 seasons after all. So what they do is introduce some newfangled technology thing that they claim can see ghosts, and make some wild accusations about things that we, the audience, can't verify. It's actually really staggering once you realize just how much of the show is fueled by the honor system. I just have to believe that it's suddenly gotten very cold next to them. I just have to believe that they became furiously angry out of nowhere. I just have to believe Zach stood in a corner and blacked out for a while, because he really loves doing that. Of course, once you start to think about how they might just be pretending these things are happening, it makes you start to question just what is and isn't really a paranormal experience, and especially in recent years, Zachary loves to claim that everything is paranormal. Oh wow, there's a red mark on your neck. It must be a ghost. Sure, okay, 1 second, Zach. You, whoever is watching this video, I want you to itch the skin on your arm. Not hard, just like a normal itch. Itch that one spot for about 5 to 10 seconds. Oh well, golly gee, would you look at that? Your skin is all red. Was it a ghost?
Look at the back of his neck. Little red spot there.
Aw gee, when the camera whipped around wildly, it's gotten redder. Almost like they went back and scratched that same spot some more. Wow, it's ghosts! Oh look, a super scary orb of light. It's not dust or a bug, we promise. Look, it floated into Zach's butthole. Is this perhaps a spirit possessing Zach's ass and making him poop himself? Ooh, the ghosts. Well, most ghost hunting shows don't bother pointing out these little orbs of light because it's actually common knowledge that this is just your lens focusing in the darkness. Oh, but maybe when Ghost Adventures is doing it, maybe it's a ghost. Even stupid, small, very explainable things are suddenly a cause for Zach to blame a ghost for something. Like, they went to Flagstaff, Arizona, a town that's over 5,000 feet above sea level. It's a very high altitude, and that means the air is very thin. And in the middle of one of their interviews, a cameraman who's been lugging around a 30-pound camera on his shoulder all day has passed out. Could it possibly be the reasonable explanation that the high altitude was the cause of this?
Guys, weird things are happening. Be on alert.
Nope, it had to be a ghost. Look how concerned Zachary is. There's no other explanation. Now, it might seem like I'm being overly harsh towards Zach. Well, that's because I am. Zach is apparently a horrible person. There's so many stories from fans encountering him where he was just very rude. Stories have come out from people who used to work with him about how Zach is allegedly a bit of an egomaniac. He's self-centered and full of himself, and most importantly, a manipulative liar. Zach Boggins claims to have a special connection to ghosts, like he's an empath or something like that. Basically, it's like he's claiming he's a medium, and if you know anything about mediums, you know that they're all scam artists. Yeah, they lie about having connections to the spiritual world in order to prey upon grieving families after they lose a loved one. And there's been so many shows that reveal just how much these mediums are just liars. And Zach is no different. And I would like to show you the hands down stupidest episode of Ghost Adventures I've ever seen. This was the moment that made me entirely lose lose all faith in Zach and his crew. They jump the shark with paranormal investigation so much that it turns the entire subject into a mockery. He's actively harming the credibility of other ghost hunters who actually have passion for the idea of finding proof of ghosts with his buffoonery. So, without further ado, let's go to the Goldfield Hotel.
For ghost adventures, Goldfield Hotel.
The Goldfield Hotel is a location Zack Attack and the crew have visited multiple times in the past. It's considered a fan-favorite location for them to visit. It's one of the earliest locations they found some credible paranormal activity. They've visited it multiple times and formed a bit of a relationship with the ghosts there, presumably. So, in 2021, they had a new special where they're going back to their old stomping grounds.
It's because there's been an infection of darkness.
Sounds pretty serious. Until you decide to look at pictures of the hotel during the day. Oh, that's nice. Also, it can't be that much of an infestation when they have tours and paranormal investigations advertised on their website. And you can too, for the low price of $20 per person. Yeah, that's kind of the thing with these paranormal locations. They charge you to visit. That's why they don't tear down the old decrepit sanatoriums or prisons, because even though the building is just literally falling apart, people doing paranormal investigations can show up and drop a couple $100 to spend the night. Or at least pay to get a ghosty-themed tourist experience. Is that the darkness you're talking about, Zatch Bell? Greed? Corporate greed?
Iconic hotel has recently become a magnet for the dead when Mark and Debbie Constantino, who investigated here with us, died in a murder-suicide.
Okay, I'm sorry, Zach. I must have misheard you. Are you claiming the murder-suicide of two real people is why you're claiming there's a new influx of darkness in this building?
As we hunt for the source of this dangerous infection.
See, this is the thing that I really hate about paranormal manipulators like this. They just prey on the dead to help further their own gain. Zach is using the actual terrible event of a murder-suicide to justify going back to this hotel and making money off of another special. Also, here's an idea I just generally hate. Why would they be haunting this place? The couple that didn't even live here, they just investigated this location once with the Ghost Adventures crew? Why would their ghosts be here?
Today the Goldfield has summoned us back for one last battle.
When Zachary Bodackery puts it this way, it sounds like this was a mission someone asked them to do, like the hotel itself called them back to continue their ghost hunts. Or like some ghost hunting senator gave Zach and his team this mission personally. It definitely sounds more poetic that way, rather than what likely actually happened. Zach or his managers at Travel Channel heard about the recent murder-suicide, and they thought they could capitalize off of that event by going back to that location they were known for. Yeah, it kinda sounds a lot more scummy when I put it that way, huh?
To completely black out the entire Goldfield Hotel.
Why? Like actually. Why? See, Zach loves making up new shit to claim it's part of their investigative process, but it's always something pointless and dumb. They're already investigating in the middle of the night when it's pitch black outside. Blacking out the windows will do nothing. What, the moonlight is going to scare away the ghosts? Ooh, oh no, star shines. Can't get any ghost hunting done here.
In the past, we have uncovered many deaths here at the hotel.
No, you've covered the death of the people. To claim you've uncovered them implies that they were not known to the general public before you arrived. No, they were known of deaths at the hotel, and you just reported on them for your TV show. Zach walking around acting like he's the Sherlock Holmes of ghost hunting, the fuck? So, a lot of this incredibly lengthy and boring intro is just Zabo listing off as many deaths that supposedly happened in or around this location as possible, as if implying the amount of deaths is the cause for such scary hauntings. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, this idea is stupid. There's an unknown millions of deaths at every single step of this world. We've been walking on this earth for at least 2023 years. Yeah, where you're sitting right now, someone probably died there hundreds of years ago. It's actually not that special or remarkable. This special is 2 hours long, and it takes 10 minutes just for them to enter the hotel. Ugh.
Large vein of quartz passes directly beneath the Goldfield Hotel, producing an electric current. This structure is sitting upon a constant source of electricity.
Hey, Zachariah, guess what? You'll never believe this, but every building in America is sitting on a constant source of electricity. There's this thing in the paranormal world where they claim ghosts are like fueled by electricity. They claim ghosts can manipulate electromagnetic fields and stuff, which I do not believe in the slightest. Like, why? Why would a ghost be charged like a battery? Why electricity? How would they know how to harness the electricity around them? Is there like ghost orientation you need to go to after you die that explains how to harness your electric powers? Most ghosts supposedly come from an era before electronic devices were even common. How the hell would they know how to use electricity to fuel their ghost activities? And it really feels silly once you realize how much technology is all around us. In this day and age, where everything is powered by electricity, shouldn't the ghosts be running the place? Zach claims the small discharge of electricity found with quartz underneath the building somehow is powerful enough for the hotel, as if the built-in power lines running through the McDonald's down the street isn't 100 times more electrically powerful than this.
Believes somebody was murdered in that room.
What was that?
Ghost Adventures have started to do this thing where in the middle of their interviewing process they have before the investigation, they'll suddenly hear something.
That was really loud. That was loud.
Whoa, what was that? No, none of our camera crew picked it up, and the person we're interviewing didn't seem to hear anything either. But quick, we have to run off and claim there are things already acting up, because our agents at Travel Channel said the viewership kept going down during the interview segments. What's hilarious here is they rush outside, claiming they heard a man's voice, as if the hotel isn't in the middle of a city street next to other buildings that are open establishments. Wow, you heard a man. What are the odds? No, it definitely wasn't a car driving past. It must have been a ghost.
What are we getting? 7.6.
That's right. Do we know who you are?
They'll randomly pull out this device, and I've got to be honest, I have no idea what it is they think they're measuring with it. They'll claim random numbers are big and surprising arbitrarily. Guys, it's your camera equipment. It's your microphones. It's not reading a ghost's heartbeat or anything. You're in a room filled with film equipment. That's when your doodad is registering.
Do you know us? Do you know me?
Did you catch that? Surprise! This whole show isn't about catching proof of ghosts. It's actually the Zachary Baglin Show. So often, Zach will derail their investigation to instead try and make it all about him. He'll often claim the ghosts have a special issue with him personally. If any of their ghost machines spits out a noise, he usually claims they're saying his name. My favorite is when he interrupts the entire investigation to park his ass right in front of a camera and starts loudly making a fool of himself because he wants to always be the center of attention. They'll be in the middle of actually getting real evidence, and Zach will instead start yelling and jumping around because it's actually all about him.
That's intelligent EMFs.
7.3, 8.
It's literally just random numbers going up and down. Like, come on, we're 15 minutes in, and we still haven't actually started the real investigation. The poor woman they were interviewing is now just stuck awkwardly standing near Zach as he yells at the ghost he's pretending is talking to them. It's like she's like, well, at least I'm getting paid by the hour.
Aaron, what's wrong?
Why is Aaron crying? Is it the fact there's darkness in the tower? Or perhaps it's the fact Zach started angrily yelling at the imaginary ghost of the man who used to be their friend who killed his wife and then himself. And you're sitting there yelling at this idea of him, pretending like his ghost is there, and Aaron has a bit more of a conscience about how actually scummy that is. They go on to talk about how another man apparently killed himself on the steps of the Goldfield Hotel. hotel, and while they are respectful enough to not reveal the name of the man who did this, they are still going to continually claim he is not only haunting the hotel now as a ghost, but also claim the evil dark forces from the hotel convinced him to do it. Great job, Zabagoo. Actually, I tried looking up more information about this supposed suicide, and I could only find information that talked about this episode of Ghost Adventures. So I'm not going to outright say they're making this story up, but I will say it's awfully suspicious. This whole opening is filled with people just talking about these amazing, fantastical ghost things that they've seen before, obviously without capturing any footage of their events. Uh-oh, it's time for the part of the episode where Zach decides he needs to be an edgelord.
In this moment, I am overcome with rage and anger. I feel violent and out of control.
Sure, I'll just take your word for it, Zach. I'll just believe that you're suddenly overcome with anger out of nowhere. By the way, which community theater do you think Zach takes his acting classes from? Because he should ask for a refund.
Go in this room. Don't put light on me.
Why? Because it'll be easier to see that you're bullshitting? My favorite thing about Zach Blabbins is the fact that he really loves to pretend that he is the main character of the ghost world. He likes to think he's just so special and important, and every single ghost has a huge boner for him.
I immediately go into a very strange trance.
I felt like I wanted to have sex.
What the hell?
They talk about having nightmares several times in this episode.
I had a dream last night that was the worst nightmare of my entire life.
Again, we just have to take their word for it. A whole lot of the honor system rolling around here, guys. But what's more important is that the ghosts are so attached to Zachary that they followed him home. Oh wow, he's just so special, isn't he?
I ran inside and planted this recorder that says his name.
Whoa! This show has some extraordinary stretches when it comes to supposed ghost EVPs they've captured, but this one really takes the cake. Literally, none of it sounds like anything. It's filled with garbled voices from a room over, and they've arbitrarily picked a random moment to claim it almost sounds like one of their names. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? According to them, clear as day audio? What do you think the ghost said here?
It's hotel hell? It's hotel hell.
Now that is some actual leaps you're making there, Zach. Yo guys, listen. If you listen close enough, you can tell that the ghosts are playing the song Hotel California in its entirety. Is it because it's a haunted hotel? Ooh, we're so special and cool. Zach goes on to try and claim it's an undeniable proof. First of all, even if you had captured audio that actually sounded like real words, no, that's still not real proof. Audio is one of the easiest things to edit, and they're playing it back to you on a laptop. The easiest device to edit audio from. And even if they didn't, they could have just had one of their many crew members stand next to the mic and say something scary into it, and then claim it was a ghost afterwards. Convenient that there's no visuals to go along with this audio, huh? It's convenient that there's no way of knowing how many people were actually milling around the camera when you picked up this hotel hell clip. Anyways, it's time to introduce the real star of the show, Chris.
Chris Fleming is a psychic medium.
Chris is very special for this episode. You can tell because he starts things off by claiming one of the ghosts traveled through time.
And there was voices of a spirit trying to enter into me. Listen to it. Scott's like, oh my God, that is Mark's voice. 2005, Mark was still alive. He goes, no, that's Mark's voice. I believe it was him in the future that had come back to the past to try to channel through us.
Yes, he's claiming that rather than think perhaps the ghost hunter who captured the audio that sounded a lot like his own voice had faked the audio he captured. No. What it definitely was his own future ghost traveling back through time to fuck with them. Like a pre-order haunting. I can't. Oh my God. Well, if you thought Chris here couldn't get any better, you'd be wrong. Really? Really?
You brought them here.
Oh my God. We are really going to stand here and pretend that this man is being real-time possessed by a demon. Right now, we're really going to act like a ghost has taken over all of Chris's body and is speaking full sentences through him.
Come into my home again.
I didn't think the bar could go below rock fucking bottom, but here it is. This is the thing that made me give up all hope in Ghost Adventures' credibility. They actually planted this middle school level acting performance front and center and expected their audience to actually believe this shit was real.
And he is,
Jesus fucking Christ, this is so pathetic. It's almost embarrassing. Now, in general, it's a common idea that ghosts struggle to communicate to the living world. Apparently it takes a lot of energy or something, which I can get on board with that. That makes sense to me. That's why most instances of paranormal activity will be quick, short, 1 or 2 word answers, like our good old hotel hell bit earlier. So to act as if this spirit can spit out a full-ass monologue through Chris is not only goofy beyond belief, but would actually be considered the biggest fucking miracle in modern ghost hunting. And you know what's the best part? This happens twice.
You come to us now. What is it that you seek now within our darkness?
Yeah, like 10 minutes after the demon possesses Chris the first time, it happens again. And you can really tell. It's basically like just one big improv game for the guys here. Chris is just standing there, listening to what the other's reaction is to what they're seeing, and then after they start yelling, "Oh, it's on your leg," he starts acting all possessed again.
Grabbing his legs.
Honestly, a lot of the show is just them waiting for certain acting cues with each other. While it's all likely unscripted, obviously, no sane writer would think this was a good idea.
Come to us now.
Chris.
It is just them going into these buildings with the intention of painting anything they do as being paranormal. That's why everyone suddenly agrees with Zach every time he claims he hears a voice.
Okay, how many people heard the man's voice?
Oh, we all heard it.
It's yes and. It's literally the first rule of improv. Anyways, let's talk about this camera they're using. Zachary Bokoblins really loves whipping out fancy looking new equipment whenever he can. But really, they're all the same. Seriously, there's like 3 different cameras that do exactly the same thing as each other. They just have slightly different filters, and you really realize how goofy they all are once you realize they're all made out of the Xbox Kinect. Yeah, that's how the skeletons are popping up inside of the people standing in frame, and how the shape of a person is supposedly appearing. It's the software from an Xbox Kinect trying to identify the shape of a person when they're playing a video game. A system that, might I remind you, doesn't get made anymore because of how bad it was. That's why every time one of them turns profile, their skeletons freak out. You're not supposed to stand sideways when using your Kinect. They wildly claim it's picking up a ghost or something, when in all honesty, it's just the machine trying to find the shape of the person in a dimly lit room.
Do you see this?
Yes.
Oh my god!
Oh my god, the ghost is giving Chris a blowjob. Could you imagine how insanely jealous Zach would be? Someone got a ghost blowjob and it's not him? Oh, he'd be pissed.
Hey.
Okay.
First of all, bullshit. We see there's a wide camera filling this room, and you also have a body cam. Why don't we see what happened in the room that made you think someone was breaking in? Why don't we see the moment where you initially think you see something like that? Second, if you thought someone was actually breaking in, you would not be that calm about it. Do you want to know what it looks like when someone thinks there's a person breaking in during a ghost hunt?
Honest to God, someone please come over here. I'm not kidding.
Guys, I'm not kidding. There's someone moving. Hey! We're calling the police!
God, I love Project Fear. They're the best ghost hunting show. They're on YouTube. You should check them out. They're actually very good. They're my favorite. I love them. But yeah, this is clearly, there's no question about this. This is clearly them actually thinking there might be an intruder on the property. This is the reaction most people have. No one who actually thinks someone is breaking in is going to wander their frumpy ass into a room and stand around staring at a wall. Fuck you.
What year was I born?
77.
77! 77!
Aw, Zachary is so special. The ghosts all care about him specifically and personally. Aw, special boy Zach. The next day they drop Chris, probably because Zach couldn't handle not being the center of attention the whole time. Also because dad acting though. And I kid you not, they blame an unrelated fender bender that doesn't even happen near the Goldfield Hotel on ghosts.
Something is letting us know that it wants us to feel this fear.
They've decided it's all related to a tunnel system that's underneath the hotel, and they've found a building that supposedly has a tunnel that used to lead to the tunnels underneath the Goldfield. Wow! And the camera turns to the building, and it's literally a souvenir shop. They're not even trying to hide the fact that this is just one big tourist trap anymore. Come on down to the Goldfield Hotel! You can take a ghost tour starting at the low price of $20 per person. And don't forget to jog across the street to the haunted souvenir gift shop. Yeehaw! I don't know why I did that accent for this one. The ladies who run the shop talk about very vague ghost things, and Zach acts like it's a literal one-to-one with anything they've experienced.
We're having exact parallels here.
Yeah, they work right next to the Goldfield. I'm sure they all know the script the tour guides have.
During Prohibition.
You know, there's never any current ghosts. Like, you never have a haunting where someone just keeps talking about Roblox or something. Okay, this one's actually hilarious. Zach talks about having an upset tummy, and then we see him holding his stomach as he exits the gift shop. And then they show the ladies who run the place talking about it smelling like shit.
You smell that weird smell?
100% Zach ripped ass in the gift shop. Zach ate something that made his tum-tum hurt, and then he farted in the gift shop and tried to paint it like it was something paranormal. What a professional. So the final thing they do is Zach goes in by himself, decked out in the dumbest gear imaginable. He claims the stick he's holding doesn't give off any light, but I have my doubts about that. You know, they claim it doesn't, and would Zach and the crew lie to us?
Come into my home?
So Zach goes in and tiptoes slightly down one hallway and hears one tiny noise and then just freaks the fuck out.
I hear the loudest bang come from the wall directly in front of me.
Wow, you'd think after 26 seasons, tiny little noises like this wouldn't send an esteemed ghost hunter running off like a gigantic baby. In fact, tiny little noises like this often cause the Ghost Adventure boys to suddenly scream and flail their cameras around. And yet, when a whole-ass demon spoke full sentences through Chris, no one seemed bothered by that, but a tiny tapping sound, likely coming from like a bat or a bug or something. Oh no! Scary. Zach runs into a wall, enough to make his chest camera stop working, and it's awfully weird. Like, we see there's two different wide angles of this moment, one that shows us the room that made the scary noise Zach heard, and one that shows the hallway he ran into after he got scared. But they don't show us these events from the wide angle. They only show us this from Zach's body and hand cams. It's almost as if he wasn't actually running in fear, and instead carefully made sure to chest bump the wall to make it look like he crashed into it. But they can't show us the wide angle because it would just reveal how fake this all is. After all, he's holding a camera in one hand, his dumb lightsaber in the other, and is wearing a hat. You'd think someone who's running from something and crashed into a wall would have either of their hands or head hit that wall before their chest would.
Get in here!
After this, they fiddle around with another one of their stupid Xbox Connect things, and then the special just abruptly ends.
But I feel lucky just to have survived.
Yeah, but were you though? Were you really ever in any danger? Aside from running around in the dark, which was something you chose to do yourself, and also was something you can do with or without ghosts. This whole special, Zach talks about finding a solution. He talks about needing to solve this. The beginning paints it as if they're ghost detectives, and they need to find a way to make the hauntings go away. But they don't. Hell, they don't even find anything that I think would be considered proof of a paranormal incident. All special. It's all just dust particles floating around, some garbled audio that sounds like nothing.
We've captured a disembodied voice calling me by name.
They claim multiple times to hear a man's voice, but never once can you actually hear anything picked up on the cameras.
What was that?
What did you
That
do?
was really loud.
That was loud.
Some bad acting, some stick figures, and then one unidentified tapping sound at the very end. It's all pretty fucking lame. The reason the Goldfield is considered a fan favorite for the Ghost Adventures crew is because this was not only the first place they ever investigated, but because they got real paranormal evidence. They've filmed something that even a super skeptic like me can't dispute. And as much as I shit on them, I will admit that they have filmed things that don't seem faked before. But this, literally all of this, not only does it all look cartoonishly faked, but it wasn't even entertaining or scary. If you're going to fake getting evidence, don't have a middle-aged dude put on a cartoon villain voice and overact. Fake a shadow demon running around. Fake a brick being thrown. Show me something. This whole special is 2 hours long, and they capture jack shit in the whole thing, all the while dragging their own credibility through the mud as they put on one embarrassing display after the next. Tiny, insignificant things sends the boys running around in a panic. They don't look into anything. They don't try to communicate with the ghosts. They just yell at each other the whole time. 90% of this episode is things that only work on the honor system.
Both Janice and I sense that indeed the energy here is darker. In this moment, I am overcome with rage and anger.
I had a dream last night that was the worst nightmare of my entire life.
It's so boring. It's not good television, and it's pathetic ghost hunting. No good paranormal investigator would bother talking about a nightmare they had sleeping at a different hotel. Ghost Adventures is a sham, and worst of all, Zach Bramble-Gamblins is a terrible host. He's loud and obnoxious, he's desperate to be the center of attention, but also a gigantic coward piece of shit who runs from the ghosts he's trying to find. Literally, the worst paranormal show that's on TV. Shout out to my $10 patrons, you're all amazing. Nako, Andrew, Valhalla Knight, Chamomile, G Extreme, Classy Critic, Noah Perkins, Sunny Shy, Jake, Amber, Hype Man, Zero to Hero, Isaiah, Scaring Crows, Not All That Evil, Messiah Complex, Jacob, Ben Sketchbook, The Watcher, Omega Fighter, Trash, Wild Pilot, Josh, Swift Cannon, The Infinity Effect, Gino, Twisty, and Juan. So yeah, what do you think of Ghost Adventures? I just cannot stand them. I hate them. I legitimately hate them. I think it's one of the worst shows. I will often refuse to watch it, but my boyfriend loves it, so it's often on. What do you think about ghost hunting in general, Zach in general? Any and all thoughts of the things I talked about in this review? Like I said, Project Fear, watch them. They're amazing. There's a link in the description. 10 out of 10 ghost hunting stuff. Any and all thoughts and opinions about this review, ghost hunting in general, Ghost Adventures, leave them down in the comments below. I would love to see them, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.